star and live up to the, the star hype and all that kind of stuff around the clubhouse. It really is, up to him to contribute to the clubhouse atmosphere and environment being a good one. And I think that's a very interesting point. I think you make a great point about how the Nationals went about spending their money or not spending their money, and what they could do if they did not sign Bryce Harper. That was a courageous, in many ways, move to say, look, it's not, one player's not going to make the difference. We need this guy and this guy, and they were able to do that. And I mean, that's what you want to see in baseball. You want to see organizations being smart about, winning because they and putting together rosters in a smart way, rather than just buying them, because there's that risk of it not working, and then you've got a bunch of contracts that you can't, they can't deal with. So I thought the Nationals did an awful lot of good things, obviously.
So what do you think? I mean, we all know what the Twins' challenge is. They have a very good pitcher in Jose Barrios. They really don't have any other major league starters that are guaranteed to be on the roster right now. They have Gratterall, who could be really good, but it's if you're really aiming high, it's hard to just base everything all of your plans on someone that young. I think it's an easy call that they should try to bring back Odorizzi. I love the way he pitched last year. I also love the fact that he pitched well in an elimination game, but still have a rotation to round out. Do you have a guy you see in free agency that they realistically could or should target?
I don't know enough about who the free agents are this year, the starting pitchers are this year, to be able to answer that question, frankly. So we can, as I get myself a little bit more educated, we can talk about that, or maybe you would have, some names that you could throw at me. But I will say this: there's there's another way to go about this, other than just simply paying for a pitcher or trying to trade for a pitcher. The other way is to sign a position player that you don't really know that on the face of it you wouldn't think they need, but then have the ability to make some adjustments around that if the player is good enough. And I've been thinking about, ever since I saw Anthony Rendon come here with Washington in September, I was thinking, free agent, going to command a whole bunch of money, but he's relatively young for the deal that he's going to get. He's a durable guy. He's a great player. And I look at the Twins lineup, and one thing, frankly, I know that the Twins had a big year offensively and all that, and I don't expect that not to be the case next year. But Nelson Cruz isn't going to be the third hitter in 2021, potentially. Most probably not 2022. Who's going to be your third hitter? We don't know if someone else is going to step up. Max Kepler may end up being the fourth, the cleanup hitter, and Polanco the third hitter. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. But what we do know is that when you put a real professional thumper in the third spot, as the Twins did with Nelson Cruz, really good things happen. So, but what are you going to do if Nelson Cruz is not in the lineup? What if he's hurt? What if next year's doesn't work out, or what next year does, but then 2021 you're looking for a third hitter, trying to go find one. Combine Rendon's offense with how good a defensive player he is, and then say, okay, now Miguel Sano can move to first. We can trade Miguel Sano. We just put a right-handed bat in there that will make up for Sano leaving if necessary. Now you might be able to put a package together of guys. And I think they'll probably shop Rosario a little bit. In that sense, in that case, they could shop Sano, because in 2 years, I mean, I know Royce Lewis looks like he's going to be a terrific player, and Kirilloff, and but man, I look at spending $200 million or more on a pitcher, and then I look at spending $200 million on Anthony Rendon. I go,
Interesting. Really interesting. And to answer your question about free agent pitchers, the thing is, it's not a great list. It's Garrett Cole, who's great, but is going to cost an incredible amount of money. I can't see the Twins winning that bidding contest, even if they go into it. Then you have Steven Strasburg, who's probably going to opt out of his deal. His deal's 4 years, $100 million. So if he's opting out, he's looking for 6 years, $200
more than that.
Yeah. Then you have Ryu, who is a very good pitcher. Wheeler, Odorizzi. I think Odorizzi is the fifth best on the market in terms of WAR. So,
yeah, I agree with you about re-signing Odorizzi. I think you can get him relatively reasonably. We'll wait and see, but I think that's a good point.
And then after Odorizzi, there's nobody who would just jump out at you and say, "Oh my God, you have to go." I mean, Kyle Gibson is the 11th best pitcher, free agent starting pitcher in terms of WAR. That tells you that there's not, if you're not going to go after Cole or Strasburg, there's nobody really that exciting who's just going to transform your team. I don't think. And they're probably
right. I think yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think Ryu's is an interesting guy. It will depend on, again, the amount of money. I think he's the kind of guy. He's the Corbin kind of acquisition that you were talking about that last week, and I agree with you. And that he would interest me a lot. First of all, because he's left-handed, and second of all, maybe first of all because he's very good, and second of all because he's left-handed. And so I like that. I like that deal a lot. But to my other point, getting someone like Rendon, if you're going to pay the same money, then get a guy that can help you every day, and chances are won't have a ulnar collateral ligament blowout, right? And then to your point about free agents, maybe the way for them to get maybe they sign Ryu and then make a trade for, make the Syndergaard trade that everybody wanted made last year. But now they've got some guys that they can trade because they have just really solidified their lineup with a bona fide, thumper in there. I mean, let's say they did that and Nelson Cruz was really, really good again. The toughest decision that Rocco Baldelli would have to make is, who do I hit third and who do I hit fourth?
Right. Right. That's really interesting way to look at it.
And then you got a guy, Nelson Cruz decides or shows that he's slowing down a bit. Then that you got a guy that just picks up that slack at a time when Royce Lewis is emerging and Kirilloff is emerging and some of these other kids and Polanco and Kepler and Garver just keep getting better and Arise and on and on and on. So I don't know. It's kind of intriguing to me. I don't want to just assume that I don't want to presume to spend $250 million of Twins money, but I just think there are other potential ways to look at how you make your club better, rather than just in free agency or trying to make a trade with the organization from the organization you currently have.
Interesting. That's a great way to look at it. I'm going to think about that. That might be a column for me. I'll have to give you credit for that. Let's a couple other aspects I want to get to about the state of the game, the state of the Twins. Do want to thank Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent, Champlin. You can find him at champlininsurance.com or just Google Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund.
Hi, Talk North listeners. I wanted to let you all know about State Farm's new Quotes for Good program. We partner with local nonprofits to raise money for great causes. For the Roy Smalley Show, I will be donating $10 to pitch in for baseball and softball. This provides baseball and softball equipment for kids in need. Be sure to mention the show when you reach out to us so that we can track the donations. You can reach us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at champlininsurance.com.
So, you and I have gone back and forth on how much emotion players should show on the game. We're getting more and more to the point where it's like the Winter Ball World Series. There is just a massive amount of emotion being shown. I think the cork is out of the bottle in terms of showing emotion on the field. We even saw, two batters carry their bats after home runs to first base, which really surprised both of their first base coaches who didn't know what to do at that point. So I guess the question now is there a line that players shouldn't cross anymore, or are there no lines anymore, period?
I think the lines have been redrawn in favor of celebration.
Yep.
And obviously, and so you can go a lot farther, further to the, to before you hit the line. But I think there needs to be lines, and I think the line is basically, are you dramatically showing the other person up in a public situation like that? That's why I've never liked bat flips, because it's, and we've talked about this before, but it's a highly competitive, or should be, endeavor that both teams are engaged in, and there's going to be emotions both ways. You're going to be happy that you did it. You're going to be really, really upset that if you're the pitcher, if someone hits a home run, and he flips his bat. I think that's showing the pitcher up more than necessary, given the fact that the guy just showed you up by hitting you out for the win or whatever. And I think that if batters were put in the opposite place, and the pitcher struck out the hitter with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth to win the game, and he did a moonwalk to the plate, I think the hitter would take exception, and I think the hitter should take exception, and because otherwise the competitive juice, I think almost by definition gets watered down. If you really don't care, then how tough are you going to be, trying to make that pitch or trying to hit that pitch? If you fail and you don't care enough that the other guy is going on and on and on about about beating you, then and maybe this is just an old school of me, but I don't think you care enough. I don't think you cared enough to begin with. It's just like, hey, this is just an act. We're doing a stage play here, and this is your role, and this is mine. And sometimes the script goes for me to win, and sometimes it goes for you to win. But who cares? We're all making a bunch of money anyway, so we shouldn't care about it. I don't want that for baseball. But I have to tell you, I think that the celebrations in your own dugout are not showing anybody up. I thought it was really cool when Soto hit a home run early in the series, and he came in, and they had that little double line formed, and they were and he was samba dancing down the double line. I thought that was cute as hell, and I have no problem with that. And frankly, when Bregman carried his bat to first base, I really don't have any problem with that. And people may find that surprising, but I really don't, because I don't think that necessarily showed the pitcher up. I really don't think it did. I don't think that was a big deal. I think what would have been cool is if and then Soto, it was Soto that did the same thing. And
yep.
And I think it would have been great if the first base coaches had the presence of mind to just take the bat.
Right.
And he handed the bat. Just take it and slap him on the back as he goes by. I thought that would have been a great moment, two great moments, and I don't have a problem with that. So the long-winded answer to that is, I think you draw the line short of being in your opponent's face about your success, but I'm okay with the emotion now as it's expressed.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a good place to come down. It's not like we're, because anytime, and, we're both older than 30, I think. Anytime somebody older complains about anything that expresses emotion in the game, we kind of get labeled as, either traditionalists or just old fogies. But the reality is there has to be some line, just as in the NBA. Everybody loves to see a dunk. Everybody loves to see a dunk over somebody. But if you then walked up to the guy you dunked on and stuck your finger in his face, you're going to have a fight. That's not good for anybody. There has to be some line. There has to be some restriction on how you behave.
I agree. I just think that there needs to be some understanding of of not overly dramatically showing up to your opponent. I just think, for all the reasons that you and I've just said, I think that's the line.
Let's get a final thought from Roy. Next week, we'll get more into some ideas I have about the game, the juiced balls, pace of play, maybe a simple, although radical fix for some of those things. And we're going to be talking about Twins free agency, Twins moves, Twins possible moves. Remember last winter, we were the ones saying, hey, go out and get Nelson Cruz. And I think a week after we did a podcast on that, they signed Nelson Cruz. So